Hola amigo David, venimos aquí al terreno. Mira, ya ahorita está húmedo, ha llovido chido. Mira, ya está la cabaña. Ahí está, vamos para allá. Y ahí está la cabañita. Ahorita te mando otro video.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for watching my channel, Montana Wildcat. The last couple of years have been very trying. This is in regards to my wife. Anytime someone has an illness like schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, they need to take the right medication. And I mean exactly the right one. The one that has worked for her over the years has been Risperidol. It's an antipsychotic, an old school, typical antipsychotic. In Mexico, when we first moved there, late 2019, and we really actually were doing very well. The stress of living there started to go away. Little by little, we just felt more and more like we were at home. And my wife started to need to take an antipsychotic because of her schizoaffective disorder. She was given Risperidol in 2020, and it really helped her out. She was doing pretty well. October of 2022, a psychiatrist changed the medication to Seroquel, and I didn't realize the connection until months had gone by, but she started to have a psychotic break. She was doing really well for a long time on Risperidol before she was changed to Seroquel. I'm going to explain to you how I got here in Montana, why I came here, why I left my beautiful cabin that I love so much. I can actually say that I had achieved what my dreams were, my plans were, living off grid. I was actually very happy, and my wife was in good condition. And if it wasn't for a med change, we'd still be at the cabin and things would have been different. It probably is possible that I could have brought her back, but she had developed a lot of dangerous habits that I had to kind of try to walk her through and just get back to living normal again. Also, I had declined quite a bit. As I explain this, remember, my wife has schizoaffective disorder. Changing their medication can be very dangerous. It's about 13 degrees out right now in Montana, and the reason I came here and left everything behind was because I did the math, and helping out my soulmate was worth more than living at the cabin. Now, it was very painful that I left that cabin. I left everything behind. The only thing that I brought with me was clothing and things that you can't replace, like photographs. I did the math, and I had to work with my wife again to help her get on her feet, because she had been put into a institution, and she was very far away from me, and I had to think to myself, what's the right thing to do in this situation? What I wanted to do was go up to the Midwest where she was, get her out of the hospital, and just fly her back, bring her back to the cabin. But she had developed so many unhealthy habits that I didn't really want to bring her back to the same spot where everything went wrong, I felt that the best way to get her back into normal living was to come back to a place where she had been healthy before. And in Montana, that's exactly where we spent most of our time together. And basically, I just did what I thought was right. I'm going to tell you what I did the second I got here to Montana. Upon arrival in southwestern Montana, where I had a lot of good memories, I went ahead and checked into the main hospital there. Still very fresh in my memory was the night when the police found my wife. They did a very good job. She had been missing over 3 days. She had walked over 20 miles to a major city, and I was so thankful that she was back and it was over. But it wasn't over. She went missing a month later, and when I finally went to go check on where I thought she might be, all I found was her effects, a big pile of clothing and blankets. The whole experience really ruined my trust in others. And so I actually did find out where my wife was after she had gone missing, but I just didn't believe anything anyone told me anymore. The main reason that I felt like holding things together at all was for my wife and to be useful to God. I had to find out what was going wrong with my body. Something wrong with my intestines? Or is this PTSD causing this? I had to find out, even though it seemed impossible that they would be able to do much to help, because I had already been doing pretty much everything I could do to control it. This was kind of a funny way to arrive back in southwestern Montana, to just go straight to the hospital practically right after getting off from the jet. This is actually a very nice hospital to go to, so I had complete faith that they'd be able to do whatever was possible in my situation. I had x-rays done of my whole abdomen. I had blood work done. And what surprised me was how good everything was, because I didn't realize it while it was happening, but it's your body not working as well as it normally does. You release a lot of cortisol, and that pretty much causes your intestines to stall out, and that's very painful, and it's not healthy. But how are you supposed to force yourself to be calm? How are you supposed to force yourself to take things easy when things are unraveling around you? And it keeps being proven that when you relax, things just start falling apart. It's not a very healthy way to live, but how are you supposed to just make everything around you work? This was my problem. And because the various psychiatrists and other specialists could figure out that I was definitely not a danger to myself or others, then what they could do for me was very limited. Of course, I'm glad I didn't have to stay there, but they kept me there for 72 hours, and it was a pretty nice stay. At least I found out that I didn't have anything really wrong with me physically. The only idea I had in my mind was, when I get out of here, the only thing I can think of is going to see some kind of therapist or counselor. But in the past, I felt I did nothing. Nothing. This is where I started. Friends just kind of came out of the woodwork. It was Providence again. People I didn't even remember that well just got a hold of me through other friends, and I actually got a place to stay. A nice house. Even though my nerves were on edge most of the time, this was the point of trying to start things again. I really missed living in the cabin in Mexico, but I was trying to start new, or at least have a place where I would thrive while I was not at that cabin. A home away from home, maybe? And this was a great opportunity for me and my wife to reconnect. And it was so nice to hear her all the time. Remember, I had been away from her 9 months while she had run off the last time, was taken in by missionaries, taken to a place in Mexico, then transported to the Midwest. But like usual with my wife, we're just joined at the hip. We're just, you know what, it is true when a man and wife are joined, they become one flesh. And it's just proven in us. I can actually tell when my wife is suffering if I'm not around where she is. I just feel it. And I come to always find out the same time when I was feeling her suffering, she was suffering. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8, the New King James Version Bible. I know that it's been very painful for me to witness my wife go through these psychotic breaks. Her hallucinations that she hears seem that they're coming from me, and so that makes it even more painful because when she's hearing these awful things, she thinks that I'm saying these things. And so it's a special kind of turmoil. The miracle in all this is that we're both just human beings. But our belief in God has put into us a special kind of love where it just doesn't matter how bad of a condition my wife is or how much trouble it might cause when she's ill. I'd rather be around her and be able to help her and have her enjoy my company while she's sick and these things happen. I'd rather have that than an easy out, not having to bother with it. Not being able to be around her, that is misery. My wife Alicia is my favorite person to be around. She is the first person that I want to tell if I've been having a hard time. She's also the first person I want to share great news with. She's a big part of what has motivated me to do big things over the years and to take care of myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Montano Wildcat.